Hey guys, welcome back to MDK Production School. This is tutorial number 4. So hopefully by now you're actually getting a better understanding of all of this stuff and how FL Studio works. Hopefully you're developing your own workflow and you're just kind of getting familiar with the software. First things first, if you're coming to this tutorial immediately after finishing number 3, make sure you go to your arpeggiator and turn it off by clicking this button. Because right now it sounds like this. And as cool as that sounds, we want that sound instead. So once you have that turned off, go ahead and go back to your Instrument Properties tab. And we're going to be taking a look at this section right here, which we ignored in the previous tutorial. This area right here, this little graph, is referred to as an envelope in the music production world. An envelope is a type of controller, and it's similar to an LFO, which we covered previously, as an LFO is just a different type of controller. What we learned with an LFO is that it can be linked to any parameter and then kind of control it automatically without us having to do anything. An envelope works in pretty much the exact same way, but it's a lot more flexible and we can customize it a lot better. The first thing that you want to do is go ahead and click this button in the top left corner of the envelope. Once it's clicked and it's turned on, it'll become orange. If this button isn't turned on, then the envelope won't actually have any effect whatsoever. Envelopes come in a variety of different types, the most common of which is an ADSR envelope. ADSR simply stands for Attack, Decay, Sustain, and Release. Now, those words probably didn't help clarify. In fact, I'm willing to bet they just confused you further. So let's take a look at each and I'll explain them. So each of those 4 words, attack, decay, sustain, and release, corresponds directly to a part of this graph. Let's start by explaining what attack does. Attack is this first section right here. You can change it by clicking and dragging up and down on that section, or you can simply tweak this knob right here. Attack refers to the amount of time it takes the envelope to go from 0 amplitude to a maximum amplitude. If we have this envelope controlling volume, which we do, attack is now referring to the amount of time it takes it to go from 0 volume to maximum volume. Let's listen to the original sample one more time. And now let's listen to it with a slightly increased attack time. You'll hear how the sound slowly fades in as opposed to starting off at maximum volume. The next section is this middle part right here. It's labeled as hold. Depending on the envelope you're using, it may or may not have this hold section, as it's not super common with all types of envelopes, so I'll just briefly explain it. Hold refers to the amount of time the envelope will stay at maximum amplitude once it's reached that level, after the attack phase. For this tutorial, let's go ahead and set hold to 0, just to simplify things. Next, we'll go ahead and look at decay. Decay is the amount of time it takes the envelope to go from maximum amplitude to the amplitude defined at this point, which is also referred to as the sustain level. We can increase or decrease the sustain level by tweaking this knob right here. Let's give our sound a slightly longer decay, and we'll increase the sustain level just a little bit. So once again, if we talk about this in terms of volume, which this envelope is currently controlling, when we play a note, it should fade in slowly, and then drop off to about 60% volume. So let's take a listen and see if that's what happens. And now I'll let go of the note. Perfect, that worked out just like we thought it would. So now let's take a look at this very last section here, which is known as the release time. Release time refers to the amount of time it takes the envelope to go from the level defined by the sustain level to 0 amplitude after the key has been released. Let's increase our release time a little bit, and now we'll take another listen to the sound. And now I'll let go of the key. So as you can hear, it doesn't drop off instantly this time, it has a nice tail and a nice fade out. Alright, let's go ahead and disable this volume envelope by turning it off, and we'll go over to the pitch envelope. First, we need to turn it on, and then the one key difference between this and the volume envelope is this knob on the far right. This is the amount knob, and it works in the exact same way that the amount knob on the LFO did. We have to first increase the amount before this envelope will actually have an effect on the pitch. Let's go ahead and turn this up a little bit. And now let's take a listen to the default pitch envelope. It's pretty wonky and it can sound kind of silly, but if you know what you're doing and you play around with it, you can get some really neat sounds out of this. Don't forget, you can also turn it the other way. And now your envelope controls the pitch in a negative way. Let's go ahead and turn this envelope off as well. So I said at the beginning that envelopes were pretty common and you can find them pretty much all over the place in almost all audio software. Let's go up to the top and click Channels, Add One, and we're going to take another look at Harmor. The first thing that you notice when you open it up should be this section down here, which as you can see is an envelope. It says envelope right here, and we can tell that it's controlling the volume of this sound. If you click on this drop down arrow, you can see all of these different parameters that you can actually control. Also, if you click this drop down arrow, you can switch it to an LFO instead of an envelope. Envelopes and LFOs aren't exclusive to FL Studio though. They're found in pretty much all audio software. For example, let's take a look at Massive. Now, I know if you guys are just starting out, you probably don't have this, but I just want to use it as an example. So if you click these blue tabs right here, you'll see, once again, we have that familiar envelope shape. And if you click these green tabs, we have the familiar LFO shape. Envelopes and LFOs are pretty simple, but you can use them in pretty much an endless amount of ways. They're very powerful tools, and they will definitely come in handy while you're working on music production. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought. Don't forget, if you're interested in trying FL Studio for yourself, there's a link in the description to save 10% off all ImageLine software. When you're ready, click that next button, and I'll see you in the next lesson.